The first time she looked at me like that, I forgot how to breathe. It wasn't supposed to be anything more than a favor. Just a quick stop after college, a wrench in my hand, grease on my fingers, and a dying engine that refused to start. That's all it was supposed to be. But sometimes life hides its biggest turning points inside the smallest, most ordinary moments. Her car had broken down right outside their house, the hood slightly lifted like it was too tired to even pretend anymore. I was there to meet my best friend, Daniel, but he wasn't home yet. His mom stood in the driveway, her arms folded, her expression caught somewhere between frustration and exhaustion. "Can you take a look at it?" she asked. Her voice wasn't demanding. It wasn't even hopeful. It was the kind of voice people use when they've learned not to expect much from anyone anymore. I nodded before I even thought about it. Yeah, sure. I wasn't a mechanic, not really. But I knew enough to get by. My dad had taught me a few things before he left, back when things still felt normal. Back when fixing things seemed simple: tighten a bolt, replace a part, and everything would run smoothly again. People, I would later learn, weren't built like engines. I opened the hood, and the smell of burnt oil hit me immediately. The battery terminals were corroded, the coolant looked low, and there was a faint clicking sound every time she tried the ignition. "Pop the key again," I said. She did. The engine coughed weakly, then gave up. "Battery's almost gone," I muttered. "And, looks like the starter might be struggling too." She sighed, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. I knew it. That sigh carried weight, not just about the car, but about everything. I worked quietly, cleaning the terminals, adjusting what I could, doing small things that sometimes made big differences. She stood nearby at first, watching. Then she brought me water. Then she sat on the steps, just there. There was something about her presence. Not distracting, just heavy, like she had a story she wasn't telling. After about 20 minutes, I stepped back. "Try now." She turned the key. The engine hesitated, then roared to life. Her face changed instantly, not just a smile, but relief. Real relief. The kind that softens your whole body, like you've been holding tension for weeks and suddenly someone cuts the rope. "Oh my God, it's working." "Yeah," I smiled. "Should hold up for now. But you'll probably need a new battery soon." She looked at me again. And that's when it happened. That look, not just gratitude, something deeper, something warmer, something almost searching. "Thank you," she said softly. I shrugged, suddenly aware of the grease on my hands, the sweat on my neck. "It's nothing." "It's not nothing," she replied. "People don't usually stop to help like that." I didn't know what to say to that. So I said nothing. Daniel showed up a few minutes later, loud as always, complaining about traffic and assignments and life in general. Everything went back to normal, or at least, it looked like it did. We hung out, played games, laughed like we always did. But every now and then, I'd catch her watching me, and something inside me shifted. Over the next few days, I tried not to think about it. It was just a moment. Just a look. Just something I probably imagined. She was my best friend's mom. That line alone should have been enough to shut down every other thought. But life doesn't always respect lines. A few days later, Daniel canceled our plans last minute. Something about a group project and a professor who thought students didn't need sleep. I didn't mind. I was used to being alone. But that evening, my phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. "Hey, it's me, Daniel's mom. I hope you don't mind. I got your number from his phone. The car's acting up again." I stared at the message longer than I should have. Then I typed back, "No problem, I can come by." Her reply came almost instantly. "Thank you, really." When I got there, the house was quieter than usual. No music blasting, no shouting from Daniel's room. Just silence. She opened the door before I could knock. "Hey," she said, offering a small smile. "Hey." The car issue was minor this time, just a loose connection I had missed earlier. It took less than 10 minutes. But neither of us rushed back inside. Instead, we stood there for a moment, the evening air wrapping around us, soft and still. "You didn't have to come all the way again," she said. "It's fine," I replied. I was free anyway. She hesitated. Then she said something that caught me off guard. You remind me of someone." I frowned slightly. "Who?" She looked away for a second before answering. "Myself. A long time ago." That wasn't what I expected. "How?" I asked. She smiled faintly, but it didn't reach her eyes. Always trying to fix things. Even when they're not really yours to fix. Her words hit deeper than they should have. Because she was right. Before I could respond, she added, almost casually. You should come by this weekend. Daniel's going to be out of town. We could talk properly. My heart skipped. Just us. There it was. That line. Simple. Innocent. Even. But it didn't feel innocent. It felt like a door opening. And I didn't know what was on the other side. The entire week felt longer than usual. Every day, I told myself I wasn't going. Every night, I found myself thinking about it again. Why did she invite me? What did she want to talk about? Was it just conversation? Or something more? And the bigger question, the one I didn't want to ask. Why did I want to go? Saturday came faster than I expected. I stood outside her house, my hand hovering over the doorbell. This was a mistake. I knew it. Every logical part of my brain was screaming at me to turn around. But emotions aren't logical. And loneliness has a way of making bad ideas feel like opportunities. I pressed the bell. She opened the door. And for a moment, everything else disappeared. She looked different. Not drastically, but enough. Softer. Lighter. Like she had shed something heavy, even if just for a few hours. You came, she said. Yeah. She stepped aside. Come in. We didn't talk about the car. Not at first. We talked about life. About how she used to dream of traveling, of studying further, of becoming something more than what she ended up being. About how things changed when Daniel was born. About how marriage wasn't what she thought it would be. People think love is enough, she said quietly. But love doesn't fix everything. I listened, really listened, and somewhere in that conversation, the distance between us shrank. She wasn't just my friend's mom anymore. She was a person, a woman with regrets, with dreams she had buried, with a loneliness she had learned to hide. And I realized something uncomfortable. I saw myself in her. Not in age, not in experience, but in that same quiet feeling of being stuck. Do you ever feel like you're just waiting? She asked suddenly. For what? I don't know, she admitted. For something to change. For life to finally feel like it's yours. I nodded slowly. All the time. She looked at me then. Really looked. And this time, I didn't look away. There was a moment, a quiet, fragile moment where everything could have gone in a different direction. Where one wrong move could have turned something meaningful into something complicated. She reached for my hand. Not in a romantic way. Not exactly. But it wasn't casual either. Thank you, she said. Again. For listening. Her hand was warm. And for a second, I didn't pull away. Because it felt nice. To be needed. To be seen. To matter. But then something inside me snapped back into place. Daniel's face flashed in my mind. His laughter. His trust. The years of friendship. And suddenly, everything became clear. I gently pulled my hand back. You don't need me for that, I said softly. She frowned slightly. What do you mean? You need someone who's actually part of your life. Not me. The words were harder to say than I expected. She looked down, processing. I didn't mean to. I know, I interrupted gently. And I didn't come here for anything like that. Silence filled the room, but it wasn't awkward. It was honest. I think you're just lonely, I added. And that's okay. But this, whatever this could become, it wouldn't fix that. She didn't argue. She just nodded slowly. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she blinked them away. You're a good kid, she said. I shook my head. I'm just trying not to make a bad decision. She laughed softly through the emotion. That already makes you better than most. I left not long after. The air outside felt different. Clearer. Like I had stepped away from something dangerous without fully realizing how close I had been. The next time I saw Daniel, everything was normal. We joked, argued, played games. Nothing had changed. And yet, everything had. Because I had learned something that day. About people. About loneliness. About how easy it is to cross lines when you're just looking for connection. But also, about strength. About choosing what's right, even when something else feels easier. A few weeks later, I saw her again. This time, there was no tension. No unspoken questions. Just a quiet understanding. Hey, she said. Hey, car's still working, she added with a small smile. Good. She paused. Then said something I didn't expect. I started looking into courses again. Evening classes. I smiled. That's great. Yeah, she nodded. I think it's time I fix my own life. I laughed lightly. Sounds like a good plan. She looked at me one last time. Thank you. For more than just the car. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because sometimes, the most important things don't need to be said out loud. Looking back, that weekend could have been a completely different story. A messy one. A regretful one. The kind of story people don't talk about. But instead, it became something else. A reminder that not every connection needs to be explored. That not every feeling needs to be acted on. And that sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is walk away. Not because you don't feel something, but because you understand what it could cost. And that understanding, that's what really changes you.